So I wanted to do a quick little video showing this computer that I got and running it in games that people play in 2023 just to see how it performs. A little while ago, I did a video of 5 computers for 500 bucks, and this is one of them. None of the parts in the computer have changed at all. It's exactly how it came. So I just kind of want to see how it performs without having to upgrade anything in it. So now we're going to go over what's in it. The CPU in this computer is the i7-4790, which is on the Haswell architecture. It released in May of 2014 and has 4 cores and 8 threads. Sadly, it's not the K version, so you can't overclock it, but with the base cooler on there, I wasn't really planning to do any overclocking anyway. This computer came equipped with 2 sticks of 8 gigabytes of RAM, both clocked at 1600 megahertz. With this CPU and motherboard combo, we are limited to DDR3, but it is still capable of gaming in 2023, so that's alright. And now for the motherboard and the power supply. The motherboard in this computer is the MSI Z97. I have built so many computers that have this exact same motherboard. It's a very, very common motherboard that I see all over the place. Nothing special, pretty basic. And for the power supply, this is a pretty overkill power supply for this PC. It is a Rosewell 850 watt 80 plus bronze power supply. Plenty of power. You could upgrade. I wouldn't recommend upgrading this PC with a crazy good graphics card due to the CPU, but you could go really, really high up there and not have any limitations with this power supply. And for the storage, this computer has a Samsung Evo drive of 250 gigabytes. This is a little on the lower end. I'd like to have a little bit more on the computer. Before I sell it, I'll probably throw in maybe a 500 gig SSD or a 1 terabyte hard drive just to give the person a little bit more space. But all around, it's a very good SSD. It's very reliable, so I'll go ahead and keep that in there. And now for the last part of the computer, this really turns it from a basic office computer to a gaming PC. This graphics card I have here is a GTX 970 and it's the MSI variant. I still think this graphics card is a pretty good option today. It is on the lower end. I wouldn't go any lower than this. I'd say you can pick these up between $40 and $60. After you get above that 60 mark, I'd say you would start looking at GTX 1066 gigs, which will perform a little bit better. They're a little bit newer, so they have better driver support. And if you want to go higher, or I guess another option for a 1060 would possibly be an RX 588 gig, which would also perform very well. This CPU in this computer can handle a pretty good graphics card, or a much better graphics card. I wouldn't go any higher than a GTX 1080 or an RTX 2060. If you want to go somewhere in the middle, I would recommend a let's see, 1660, 1660 Super, 1660 Ti. Those are all pretty good options. I'd say you could find those between $90 and $130, just depending on how hard you look. If you want to go another route, you could go with the 5500, 5600, 5600 XT. Those are all pretty good options as well. The first game we're going to be testing is Rainbow Six Siege, and I'm going to be running this on the high preset. For this benchmark, I'm for the most part pretty happy. The GPU for pretty much the whole time is pegged between 96 and 99%, so it's being like perfectly utilized. The CPU usually sits around 69 to 75 degrees Celsius, and the GPU usually sits at 69 degrees Celsius. We got an average of 148 FPS, a minimum of 114, and a maximum of 190. I originally ran this test on the medium preset, and I got 23 more FPS for the average, but I wanted to make sure I was getting as close to I could for the GPU load, so I went ahead and put it on high settings. The next game we're going to be testing is Fortnite on performance settings with everything on low. I'm pretty interested to see how this game runs with the old map coming back and partially the old graphics. I've heard from other sources that the game runs better with this update, so we'll see how it goes. Now that we've loaded in, the computer's actually running better than I expected in the sky. Usually the FPS drops a lot when you're in the sky, but so far so good. The next game we're going to be testing is Warzone. I loaded it to the optimized settings and then put everything on low, and it automatically did the render resolution at 66% using NVIDIA image scaling. We're going to see how this runs, and I might bump the render resolution up a little bit. I believe Warzone is going to be the most difficult game I'm going to be running on this computer. Right now we're hovering around the 60 FPS mark. Even when it drops down to around the 55 area, it's still decently playable, and for a $100 computer, I'd say it's still pretty good. going to raise the render resolution and turn off anti-aliasing. I would recommend doing that. You do hurt your FPS a little bit, maybe about 5 or 10, but the game looks a lot better. So that was Warzone. Now I'm going to go ahead and switch on to the next game. For Apex, I put everything on low, and then for textures, I put it on medium. I'm pretty happy with how Apex played. The GPU was pretty much at 98 to 100% usage the whole time, so it was pretty well optimized. So you could upgrade the GPU in this game and get more performance. But for the most part, the FPS was good too. It ranged from about 100 to 160. I think it sat around 130, 140 most of the time, so that's pretty good. So we'll go ahead and move into the next game. I was gonna do another test for this computer. I was gonna run Forza 4 on it because I don't have Forza 5, but someone's buying this computer at 3, and I have classes, so I don't really have any more time to run other games. I wanted to do some newer games from 2023, but I just don't have them. I might look into buying them to run benchmarks on them, but $60 just to run the game, just doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. So if there's any other games that you want me to run that are possibly free or they're pretty cheap, let me know. But other than that, I think it ran pretty good for a $100 PC. I think it ran awesome for a $100 PC, honestly. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I got a new mic for this video. It was like $9 on Amazon, $19 on Amazon. So let me know how it sounds. But other than that, that's pretty much it. So